Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about disinformation. A lot of, you know, I'm going to state right up front. I don't think Lindsey Williams himself is the disinformation. I think the guy that's feeding him this stuff is the disinformation. But let's define disinformation. Disinformation is usually when you have a pile of truth, but you have a couple target goals where you want to mislead people. And so you might be given 98% truth, 2% garbage. But that 2% garbage is where you really want to, that's your target. That's your target. That's where you want to steer people to. So Lindsey Williams does get a lot of information about the Muslim Brotherhood, what's going on in the Middle East events and different things like that. As far as the price of oil, it's been piss poor. He's been, you're going back to Ken Fromm times, it was accurate. But that's when nobody was paying attention to him. But since Ken Fromm died, these calls have been terrible. There was like a lot of, if I look back to like when he had the Libyan uprising and before, he went on Alex Jones talking about $150 to $200 barrel oil in 2011. Basically gave a time frame between like June of 2011 and October 2011. If you look at, you would say 6 months from now, between 6 months and a year from now, and all this type of stuff. The different times he was stating on the show, you would say you could interpret an exact month of at least $150 a barrel. Well, oil never really exceeded, I think it got up till maybe 100 at the very end of the year. It went down to about 75 twice in the time period that he talked about, where it was going to be 150 to 200. Way the hell off. He reminds me of this Dr. Kent Moores, who just recently made predictions of $150 to $200 a barrel oil in for the end of the summer of 2012. Same type of deal, you know. Everybody buy options. Now, in the case of Lindsey Williams, he wasn't talking, he wasn't selling any financial instruments, but he was laying on stories about how friends of his listened to his advice back in 2008 and made lots of money. So, you know, you got the implication there that he was giving you a very good scoop and that you could make money. Fortunately, the way I played it was with double leverage, not options, and I bought it 80-something, so when it eroded, and I sold at 100 or 100 something, a little over 100, it was a break even. So, but it was like nerve-wracking to watch your money way down for a long period of time to break even, which, you know, that's why I never trust him. But number two, and this is not just about Lindsey Williams, but it's about the whole crowd in silver. I looked at, he was talking about by the end of 2011, silver would be $75. Now, silver actually in reality went down to $26 at the end of 2011, right? So that's a totally bad call, right to the opposite of what it actually went to. That was like its low point, December 28th. It was like $26 and something, and he's calling for 75 to maybe 100. He was normally saying 75, but sometimes he was saying 75 to 100. That is an extremely bad call. Now, that wasn't his call. That was his elite guy, the guy in the oil business that knows the whole world and all this garbage, right? So, the one thing is, now, I want to apply a little common sense to that, and you can look it up right now. Go on the internet, look up PSLV insiders are selling, and you'll come up with articles, some of them from Seeking Alpha, September 2011, warning people who held the stock PSLV that Sprott and also PSL insiders were selling the stock and that you should too. Here Lindsey Williams comes on and says it's going up to 75. So why are they selling? Why would they be selling, right? Why would they be selling if it's going up to 75? Because if it was going up to 75, the PSLV premium would even be higher. It wouldn't even just be on the spot price. The premium would even be higher than that. So what they did? Why were they selling? Because they knew it was going down. Obviously, that's my opinion on it. That's what seems to be right, blatantly right on the surface. You know, Sprott and Morgan both sold also on April 28, 2011, right? I mean, that's pretty damn lucky. Thursday, Friday it goes down a slight amount. Over the weekend it crashes. I don't know. You figure it out. But as far as you know, the warnings being out there, they were because it's public information. Sprott said he had to make public that he was selling on April 28, 2011. He had to make public he was selling in July, August, and September. And you can look at interviews with Sprott, and guess what? He was talking on there. Yeah, silver's a great investment. Yeah, I don't think it'll go up and all this garbage. It's going to do great at the end of the year. Lindsey Williams saying the same thing. So, what I want to also point out, silver's not going to save the middle class wealth. Not exactly. Because there are other areas that you need to be in, and it's not exactly a principle of being in hard assets. It all depends on when you bought those hard assets. You really make the most money, the people who make the most money make it on capital gains, hard assets. That's just the rule. That's the way it is all the time. It could be on equities, it could be on land, it could be on metals, it could be on anything, right? It could be on marble for all I know, right? Raw marble. But the thing is, you want to make sure you're in there at the right time. You don't want to be on the peak. What I see is the silver bloggers and stuff do is they get the fever pitch running when it's halfway up the curve. They get the middle class in there. They keep the fever and the fires rolling as hot as possible, right up to the point where it's going to pull back. And they blame the banksters on everything. They blame the bankers on everything, which they may be complicit with margin rate increases and stuff like that. But the other point of the game is it's the silver bloggers themselves that are doing it. And they damn well know what they're doing, believe me. I don't care how nice and how sweet they talk to you. They know what they're doing. They're just as bad as Goldman Sachs or anybody else. And you got to remember, even in Wall Street, they're the most polite talk. You see, you people that I might be talking to already have your mind made up against Wall Street. But the Wall Street doesn't sell to the public by being upfront, coarse, or anything like that. They got a very smooth, polite sales pitch, and they're trying to sell it as, it'll make you money. Just like the silver bloggers are doing too. I say they're actually probably, in a lot of cases, now, like if you're looking at the followers that are like small people, they don't know what the hell's going on. But the bigger people, they're complicit in this whole thing because they always got a fall guy. If silver falls, they always got a fall guy. It's the banksters at J.P. Morgan. Look what they did. Look at this curve over here. Look at this spike. There's always a reason they can come up. It's a conspiracy. No, it's the market, and you made a bad call. That's what it is. And despite even what they're feeding you on the internet, you don't know what their real actions are. If they're really, really smooth operator, I always found it, I'm going to tell you, I don't think David Morgan is a very smooth operator. He's too honest. He's too honest because he actually slipped up and he says, yeah, I got lucky and I sold on April 28, 2011. And I picked it up on one of his interviews. A real predator would have never slipped up. That guy's got a conscience, so you should pay attention to him. He did tell you that when something goes up double, to sell half. So, but there is inside stuff going on, and it's also involved within the silver community too. I don't trust all that bullshit at all. Now, when we see silver start going up, you're going to see, 50 million voices on there. It's going to the moon again. It never goes to the moon. I'm going to tell you another BS story I heard from Lindsey Williams that I didn't like. And I know it's a BS story, just on face value, without having any proof. Just follow me out in the logic. He says he saw the ultra wealthy moving their silver around in these big, massive armored vehicles. And they were like, that's what they were using. It was like a specially designed truck, and it was something they bought, they owned, and they were moving his silver around. They wouldn't be doing that. They would just, if a person's got a lot of wealth and they got to move something very expensive and they're scared about moving in a private vehicle, they call up Brinks. That's what that company's around for. And then Brinks comes and picks it up, and then they deliver it. They don't go buy a truck, and they don't hire guards themselves to do this shit. It's just like everything else. If they want a built-in swimming pool, they don't buy a built-in swimming pool company. They just hire some people to build the damn thing. That's all you do. I don't know. That's ludicrous. So he made a very bad call on silver for the end of the year, although all the Sprott insiders knew when to sell. Yet Lindsey Williams, elite guy, said it's going up to 75 to 100. So I don't trust anything these guys say. Every year this guy predicts the dollar is going to go be devalued by at least 40%. He said that in 2010, 2011, 2012. I think eventually he's probably going to be right at some point in time. He might be right this year. Now, where I think silver's going up is I still counting on a war with the Middle East, and I think Israel's itching for a war. And it's probably going to happen because it only takes one little thing to start it off. And, you know, the game is, you know, they're not playing a little card game. They're playing hardball all the way. So, you know, anybody gets in their way, you know, that's going to be the end of that. That's the way I look at it. Now, the other thing is I want to point out, you know, the way to really screw up the elite is not actually buying silver. That's going to save yourself. Right now, silver's very low. You're going to make a major capital gain when you go to sell it when it gets a lot higher. I don't know when the point of height is going to be or what it's going to be, but my advice is to sell in steps. If you got enough cash to ride out something, you know, that's the way to play it. I mean, not everybody's going to guess that game right. The entire middle class is not going to get wealthy off of silver because you're not going to just sell it at the very height. And who are you going to sell it to? You're going to sell it. I don't care if it's a new currency or not. It doesn't matter if it's American currency or if it's going to be the new global currency or reset of a currency. Who are you going to sell it to? Who are you going to sell it to? What? Wall Street sharks? They ain't going to buy it. They know better. Even Jim Rogers ain't even buying gold right now. He's got some gold, but he says he'll buy a lot of it if it goes down to 1,100. You know? Mark Faber's more bullish on gold. But I'm just saying, even your popular guys, they look for steals. They don't buy things at the height. You think Jim Rogers is going to be buying gold at 5,000? Hell no. You know, that's why even when Lindsey Williams says, you know, hard assets, yeah, hard assets count. Sure. It depends on what price you get the damn hard assets at. You know, if you bought a house at $300,000 back in 2006 and today it's worth $125, guess what? That was a stupid move, wasn't it? Hard asset or not. And that's the same way it's going to go with silver. Say it goes up. I'll put a big, nice number up there. Say $800 an ounce with lots of inflation, right? I don't know if it's going up that high. It might. I don't know. There's a lot of unexpected things going to happen right now. I'm thinking it'd be lucky if it goes to 200, but I don't know. There's a lot of crazy things that could happen. But say it goes up to $800 an ounce. Who are you going to sell it to? You're going to wind up selling it to the middle class. Guys that bought it at $12, $15 an ounce. You're going to be selling it at $800 an ounce, and your buyer is going to be middle class, and they're going to get ripped off. This is not a net sum of the wealth. The middle class wealth gets saved. That's not how it's going to work. Now, I'm going to say one way the middle class's wealth can get saved, and this is actually something Lindsey Williams will never mention or any of those elite alternative people. That's through industrial hemp. Industrial hemp will actually replace the oil industry. Now, I know we got a drought in the United States. 62% of coconuts is like, you know, lacking water and all this garbage. But, you know, on the East Coast, the whole thing is raining like crazy. Like in Florida, it's loaded with rain. There's extra rain. It's, you know, it's like one part of the country is a drought, but there's other parts of the country that are raining like crazy. Hemp, you can grow any damn place. Like, for instance, in Florida, you can grow it all over this whole state. They got all kinds of land there doing nothing. You can grow it over in the Everglades for all I know, right? But you can actually, when you start growing this stuff, you're going to replace all the fuel out there. All the fuel, in other words, it produces 10 times the amount of biofuel than corn. 10 times. 10 times. It also produces many more times the diesel oil that you need to run diesels on. It also produces food, better quality proteins, better quality essential fatty acids, even in the stuff that comes with flax oil. Also medicinal marijuana. I know Lindsey Williams talked about, you know, the elite have ways you can cure cancer and all this type of stuff. You know, you got to go to special hospital. You know, I say to hell with that stuff. You know, just grow the damn medicinal marijuana. And I'm not talking about the stuff you smoke. You just get the oil from the leaves, and it's been proven that it kills cancer. It kills cancer on skin, it kills cancer in lungs, kills cancerous tumors, no problem. It does it for like practically nothing because you can grow it. It's a damn plant. And, it's been proven to be very medicinal for a number of years. They made it illegal in 1937 because it was a threat to the oil industry, because they came out with a new method to process the hemp fibers. Like they came up with a machine like the Eli cotton gin was to producing cotton fibers. They came up with a machine in the 1930s to do that with hemp. So hemp was going to be the big agricultural product. The oil companies got all freaking flustered about that because they knew it was competition, so they made it illegal. So the thing is, if you want to fight the power, do it through industrial hemp and medicinal marijuana oil. That actually would be for the middle class. Anybody in the middle class can do, period. All of the middle class. You don't need an oil well. You don't need to drill 5,000 feet down in the ocean and all this other garbage. Plus, it solves the greenhouse gases garbage. Plus, it's a renewable source. It cleans the air. And besides just being energy uses, it has a lot of food usage. And it does grow just about anywhere. It grows wild all over. The industrial hemp grows wild all over. As far as the drug ability of it, I don't smoke marijuana oil, but I could tell you, and I'm saying this is actually a solution for the middle class versus all this save the middle class through silver and all this garbage. The medicinal marijuana, like even you say recreational use of marijuana, something I don't do. But you know what? That's a hell of a lot less harmful than what the people are being given in pharmaceutical drugs and even in this psychiatric medicine that's being dished out to kids and all kinds of people left and right. That's the worst stuff in the world. If you have, for instance, if you have somebody like smoking, I don't know, a half a joint a day or something like that, whatever the hell it is, that's not going to kill them or mess them up. That like in any kind of fashion. It's like the amount of degree this person does something. It's a matter of if you have a glass of wine a day, it doesn't hurt you. 1 or 2 glasses of wine, maybe even 3. But if you're drinking a bottle a day, that can screw you up pretty good. But it's the same deal with marijuana. If you have a lot of excess of marijuana during the day, it might make you lethargic, may make you slow or whatever, but if just a little bit, maybe it calms your nerves. So maybe it's something that's good for an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, and all this type of other stuff. You don't need 50 million of these drugs out here. The problem is they want people hooked on stuff like oil, pharmaceutical drugs, and things like that because they have a patent on it and they could charge you all the money in the world. That's the game. That's the game. Anything you can do on your own, they don't want you to do because they don't have control over it. That's what it is. It's control freaks. So if you want to save the middle class, then it can be through silver, really, per se. Now, the people that are into silver right now, you got a capital hard asset. You're going to have a capital gain later on. You have a very hard asset right now. That's going to go up in value quite a bit. It's going to go up to, I don't know. I mean, I keep thinking, now I'm like lowballing. I'm thinking $200 an ounce, but it's probably going to go way the hell over that. It probably will. Depends on how fast or how much the dollar goes down. But, when things start heating up, people that are into silver bloggers and stuff and all the cheerleaders behind them are going to be saying it's going to the moon. It's not going to the moon, damn it. It's never going to the moon because the dollar would have to go to oblivion. So if the dollar went to oblivion, I guess in relative terms it went to the moon. But you're still going to trade it for another currency, whether it's Chinese yuan or whatever survives, or even the Canadian dollar, whatever survives. And that's going to be the relative net worth. But I would actually price, something else I would look at besides, the silver to gold ratio, but also look at the silver to real estate ratio. If it takes this much to buy the average house, that ratio is another one to look at very carefully, because that may be the next area to go into is real estate. But you know what? No area is safe, because if you got a new world order, they're going to own the real estate too, right? So basically, I don't know. I can comment some more on that, but I think this has been long enough.